So now we'll move on to the second problem. So here the open loop transfer function is given as g of s equal to 1 by s square into 1 plus s 1 plus 2s. The earlier problem they have given us 1 by s into 1 plus s into 1 plus 2s, but this is s square. So now we'll quickly go through the steps. So step number 1 is to find g of j omega from g of s. So wherever we have the value s, we need to replace by the value called j omega. So that's what I have done. 1 divided by j omega square, 1 plus j omega, 1 plus j 2 omega. What is the next step? Next step, we have to find out the magnitude response. You know, how do you find the magnitude response? So, the if it is a complex number means you have to take square root of real part the whole square plus imaginary part the whole square. So here we have 0, so 0 square plus here we have omega square is the imaginary part, so omega square the whole square. And here we have as usual 1 square plus omega square, and here 1 square plus 2 omega the whole square. So now the magnitude is 1 divided by omega square root of 1 plus omega square into square root of 1 plus 4 omega square. This is our magnitude response. Now the step number 3 is to find phase response. You know how to find the phase. A plus IB equal to tan inverse of imaginary part divided by real part. Same thing. So now 1 by j omega the whole square, 1 plus j omega, 1 plus j 2 omega. That is our g of j omega. If you want to find the phase, what you will do usually, we'll take tan inverse of imaginary part is omega square. So omega square divided by real part is 0. So omega square divided by 0 and the rest of the thing minus tan inverse of omega minus tan inverse of 2 omega. I hope you guys have understood why I'm putting the minus over here. I hope so, right? So now tan inverse of omega square divided by 0, that I can write it like minus 2 times of tan inverse of omega square divided by 0. So omega by 0. So what is omega by 0? I can write it like, so the remaining thing I can write like tan inverse of omega, and this is tan inverse of 2 omega. I hope you could understood what I am writing, right? So minus 2 times of tan inverse of omega by 0. So what is tan inverse of omega by 0? Infinity. So what is tan infinity? 90 degree. What is minus 2 into 90? So minus 180 degree, right? So simply you can remember whenever we have the angle, whenever we have the term 1 by j omega square, the corresponding angle will be minus 180 degree. Similarly, whenever we experience 1 by j omega the whole cube, then the corresponding phase will be minus 270 degree. So this is unity number. So that's why minus 180 degree minus tan inverse of omega minus tan inverse of 2 omega. Next, for the phase and magnitude, whatever we have calculated, we need to find out, for those two equations we have to find out the numerical values, right? So for the different ranges of frequencies, we need to find the corresponding numerical using our calculator. You know how to calculate, right? So this is what the calculation, right? After that we have to go for the plotting part. Here I am not going to plot each and every point. Why? Because that I have told you already, right? So that's why. So 0.45, what is the value here? So again I will go there and I will tell you what is the value. 0.45 here, 3.3 and minus 256, right? So 3.3 and minus 256 is better. You can have a copy of it. Yes, like also, right? Mm, 90 okay, fine. I think this should be easy. Okay, so 3.3 minus 240, 246. So you know where the point 3.3. Before that, you have to ensure what is the ranges of value. So here the first value is 3.3, last value is 0.3. So you need to cover the values up to 3. So it is better you have to enlarge the scale. That is, each circle in the polar chart that will represent 0.1 magnitude. That is what I'm saying. 0.1, 0.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So here the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Means here one circle corresponds to 0.1 magnitude, right? So now similarly we have to mark the value. So the first value is what? The first value is what? 3.3 minus 246. Where the value 3.3 is here, right? So 3 from 3 you have to go for 3 points. So 3.3. So I hope so. So 3.3 is this, and the minus 246, right? So here the value is minus 240. From this we have 6 point, right? So this is the 2 point. So where it is intersecting, right? So this is omega equal to 0.45. What is the next value? 2.5 minus 251. So we have to look at where the point 2.5 is. From 2 we have to move 5 points left side. 2.5. So this is our 2.5. So from that we have to go for minus 251. I hope minus 250 is here, so 251 is here. So now this is the point. So likewise, you have to find out all the points. After that, usually you have to connect all the points, right? So now we'll connect all the points. That's it. So now this is our polar plot. That's it. Now after that, after this, what we'll do usually you will find gain margin and phase margin. See, for finding gain phase margin, what we'll do usually we have to locate the intersection point in which our unit circle and the polar plot intersect. Here, the plot is intersecting at this point. From this, you have to draw a line, right? So you will draw a line like this, right? So you will draw a line like this. So now we can see that the corresponding phase crossover frequency is 270. So the corresponding phase crossover gamma, so in the case pi gc, that is here pi gc equal to 270 degree. But if you want to find out phase margin gamma, you have to use 180 degree plus pi gc. So here pi gc is 270, so 180 plus 270. So the answer is minus 90 degree. So the phase margin is what? Minus 90 degree. Right? Similarly, for finding gain margin, we have to look at any of the points is lying at the minus 180 degree. See here, will our polar plot is lying at the real axis? Obviously no, right? So no points will touch on the minus 180 degree line. So therefore, the magnitude at the real axis could be 0. That means g of j omega at the gain crossover frequency or minus 180 degree line could be 0. If sorry, could be infinity, because we don't have any value. We don't know where the value could be, right? So we don't know where the value could be, right? So it may happen, right? So the value could be infinity. So if it is infinity, means what is gain margin? Gain margin equal to 1 divided by that infinity. 1 by infinity is what? 0. So this is what the final answer, right? So gain margin equal to 0. So if you want to convert, you can convert it. So that is also 0 degree. So this is how we have to complete the problem, right? Thank you.